The man in aisle 7, 548 words. The fluorescent lights of aisle 7 buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow on the breakfast cereal. I was reaching for sugary flakes when I spotted him. It was Mr. Rodriguez, my history teacher, the cool one who made the Civil War feel like compelling, immediate drama. I smiled, pulling my hand away from the cereal, ready to wave. But the moment our eyes met, something instantly shifted. His casual grocery shopping demeanor vanished. His face, usually animated and warm, went pale, draining of all color. He jerked his head away with a sharp, involuntary movement. Then, without a second's hesitation, he practically sprinted toward the pharmacy section, abandoning his cart right there in the middle of the aisle. Weird, I muttered, my planned greeting dying on my lips. Why the full-on, desperate retreat? My curiosity overriding my initial embarrassment, I walked over to his half-filled basket. It held normal items, a loaf of bread, salad, a can of soup. A typical run. Then I saw it, the true contents, the items that had triggered his flight and confirmed the shift I'd seen in his eyes. There were 4 bottles, a large bottle of whiskey, a liter of cheap vodka, 2 bottles of red wine. Enough alcohol to stock a small bar, far more than one person buys for a casual nightcap. My stomach dropped with a sickening lurch. This wasn't dinner party shopping. This was a deliberate, heavy accumulation. This was a purchase made with a specific, solitary purpose. This was something else entirely. I backed away from the cart, feeling like I'd just read his deepest, most painful secret without permission. The darkness in room 214. The next morning, I walked into his classroom, room 214, with a churning mix of dread and misplaced guilt. I expected his usual energetic greeting. Good morning, historians. Instead, darkness greeted me. Every fluorescent light was off. The heavy beige blinds were drawn tight, casting the room in oppressive shadows and the uncomfortable quiet of a crypt. Mr. Rodriguez sat slumped at his desk, his posture completely defeated. He wore dark sunglasses despite the dim lighting, looking like he'd been physically hit by a truck. The bell rang, its cheerful noise jarring against the gloom. He didn't move. All right, class, he mumbled finally, his voice rough as sandpaper, completely devoid of its usual melodic inflection. Change of plans. We're watching a documentary today. Grab a seat. No entusiasm. No trivia. No terribilidad jokes. He fumbled with the remote, his hands slightly shaking, and pointed it toward the projector screen. It flickered to life with generic Civil War footage, the kind of video that screams the teacher gave up today. As my classmates settled in, relieved for the easy period, I couldn't stop staring at him. The painful pieces of the puzzle clicked together with terrifying clarity. The grocery store, the sheer volume of the bottles, the running away, the sunglasses worn indoors. The obvious, bone-deep exhaustion radiating from his slumped shoulders. Mr. Rodriguez, the teacher who made learning fun, who stayed after school every Tuesday, who seemed to have his life entirely together, was drowning. And I, a random student in aisle 7, had accidentally witnessed him buying his escape. He must have felt my gaze, because he slowly lifted his head and caught me looking, quickly turning away with that same sharp, panicked jerk. The shame in that simple, defeated gesture hit me harder than any lecture about historical tragedies. 100 thoughts raced through my head. I wanted to say something, that I didn't judge him, that teachers are human too, that he didn't have to fight it alone. But the words stuck hard and dry in my throat. I was only a student, 13 feet away, separated by a desk, an age difference, and a profound, silent tragedy. For 50 minutes, we sat there in the artificial darkness, pretending to watch a documentary about history, while the real tragedy played out right in front of us. The bell rang. Students filed out, grateful for the easy period. I lingered, wanting desperately to bridge that gap between student and teacher. But Mr. Rodriguez had already moved on. He was hunched over, his dark glasses obscuring his eyes, preparing for the next class, the next performance, the next day of pretending everything was perfectly fine. Sometimes the most important lessons, the ones about human frailty and quiet suffering, happen entirely outside the curriculum.